Today's chanting is Bhajagovinda. This is composed by Sri Adi Shankaracharya.
I'm reading from the book Narada Bhakti Sutras by Swami Bhuteshananda Maharaj. Here in the introduction, how to develop love for God? This is an important question. The answer is both easy and difficult. Easy because we often hear that if we pray to God, offer worship to Him, and try to lead a pure and good life, we can have love for God. Though it looks so simple, it is easier said than done. When we try to put these ideas into practice, we find great difficulty. First of all, it is difficult for us to understand what love of God means. We have an idea of love in our relation towards earthly things and living beings. We love our parents, children, and so on. The husband loves his wife, the wife her husband. There is then the love of wealth, reputation, power, and other such things. We can understand all these types of love. But to understand what love of God means is very difficult. The reason is we do not know as to what kind of relationship we should have with God, since we do not have any experience of that sort of relationship as we have with people here. Everything we love is concrete and can be perceived through our senses. God, however, is not of that type. The other reason is that we do not begin with realization of God. It is all more of imagination than reality when we think of love of God. Now we feel that imagination cannot be entertained without the basis of realization or experience. Therefore, there is difficulty in our concept of love of God. The difficulty is obvious. But then, those who have experience in this show us the way we can achieve the goal. For instance, Sri Ramakrishna says, a devotee must assume towards God a particular attitude. One must think of God as one's father or mother or child and so forth. That sort of superimposition can be of some help. We have experience of love for all these earthly relationships, and that has to be superimposed on God. It is said in the scriptures, "You are my father, my mother, my friend, and my beloved. You are my wealth, my scholarship, my everything." Human beings can have that sort of conception with regard to God, that is to think that He is our everything in this world. In the beginning, however, it becomes only a sort of preparation, a sort of imagination. Later on, with the gradual deepening of feeling, this very imagination becomes realization. What is imagination today will become realization tomorrow. That is how love of God can be cultivated. This love of God is called bhakti or devotion, and the path to attain God through bhakti is called bhakti yoga. Sri Ramakrishna said that all problems cease when love dawns in the mind of a devotee. The tiger of love swallows lust, anger, jealousy, and so on. In other words, intense love of God removes all obstacles from the path of God realization. We say that there are terrible obstacles in this world. Such obstacles, however, are not in the world, but they are in our minds. When love for God dawns in the mind, all obstacles disappear. How can we achieve this intense love for God? It can be achieved by regularly serving God with love and sincerity. The mind of one who leads a pure life gradually becomes tinged with divine love. Then no worldly obstacles can stop that person's growth. As household duties could not stop the gopis from going to meet Sri Krishna, Sri Ramakrishna gave a few suggestions so that the devotees may be free from obstacles in the spiritual path. One is prayer. If one prays to God sincerely, God removes all obstacles and makes everything favorable. The Master's second suggestion is to have the company of holy persons. He is a holy man who lifts others' minds to a higher realm of spirituality. Holy persons are exemplars of holiness. Their lives vindicate the existence of God. Otherwise, human beings could not have faith in spiritual life. The third suggestion is to live in a solitary place occasionally. Sri Ramakrishna gave an example. Trapped by the fisherman's net, some fish hide in the mud and think they are safe. They do not realize that the fisherman will slowly pull the net and catch them, and they will lose their life. Just as the fish are caught in the net, our souls are bound by the world. So, we should go into solitude and think about the goal of human life. If we experience that the world is not real and is full of misery, we will not be attracted to it. Spiritual disciplines removes our attachment for the world and creates in us a longing for God. Longing is the only thing that is needed. Longing is like the rosy dawn. After the dawn out comes the sun. Longing is followed by the vision of God, says Sri Ramakrishna. Here, sir.
Now a short period of meditation. Good morning, friends. Today's subject is Hari for Hari. So they say in the scriptures how one should long for spiritual realization. There is a text called Vedanta Sara. In that it is said, who is fit to inquire into the Vedanta, to practice Vedanta? So Adhikari, this person who is fit to practice Vedanta, or who has the ability to understand and to realize Brahman. The quality it is said, among many things, is Janana Maranadi Samsara Anara Santapto Deepta Shira Jalarashi Iva. He should have a great longing for Brahman, for truth. How much longing? As if scorched with the fire of an endless round of birth, death, etc. He feels this never-ending birth and death I am going through. And this has become like a burning, he feels like I am being burned with that, this never-ending round of birth and death. I have to get rid of this thing. This cycling and recycling, it's like a fire, endless fire. And that type of person who have understood the the negative side or that continuing side of birth and death, cycle of birth and death, he should repair just as one with one's head on fire rushes to a lake. So that type of student, that type of seeker will rush to the teacher to have realization of truth, like a person whose head is caught on fire rushes to a lake to burn off the fire. So that type of urgency, that type of immediacy is needed for spiritual realization. And when one has that type of feeling that I have to get rid of this ignorance, this bondage, this imperfection, and I have to realize truth in this very life, then only can God be realized. Sri Ramakrishna met, one young devotee came to Sri Ramakrishna in his second visit, just a young man, and Sri Ramakrishna says, "My boy, days are passing, when will you realize God?" That was Sri Ramakrishna saying to the young man, seeing him growing, and he has to realize God in this very life. And for Sri Ramakrishna, it was the major purpose that the boy, that the young man should live. Realization of God is the one object of this life, one goal of this life. The one supreme goal of life is, ultimate goal of life is to find God, is to find the truth, is to find the reality. If you don't find, you will be again be born and undergo all the process and suffering of this life that has given you. So one has to undergo all the practices, and when will you realize? He was so worried and concerned for the people, when will they realize God? That was Sri Ramakrishna's love for the human being, this young man. There is one saying in Hindi that, be attached, try to think of God, do a little japam in the morning and evening, and doing that one time you will realize God. बनत बनत बनी जाई, हरि से लागी रहो रे भाई, तेरा बनत बनत बनी जाई. Just have a little touch with God and sometime it will happen. But Sri Ramakrishna didn't like this idea. He said, this is very slow process, no yearning, no greed. It is like he used to say about the cattle, the bullock that was sold in the market. And he said, when farmers go to select the bullocks, which is fit for plowing, they will taste by touching their tail. And when they touch the tail, somewhere there they will not react. So those will be rejected because they say nothing will happen. They are not worried. They have no activity. They have no power. They have no urgency. They are not fit for that. And farmers will reject those bullocks. So which one will they select? When they touch, the bullock will jump. So that type of person who is ready to work, ready to do. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna says. You will realize God, but maybe not, if not in this life, maybe next life. Banata bani jai. Just be there, do a little prayer, bow down to God and forget God for the whole day, and next day again bow down. By that you will be slowly progressing towards good, slowly heart will be purified and you will realize God. Definitely you will realize God, but it may take many lives. So, but Sri Ramakrishna said that is not the ideal. Ideal is we have to realize God in this very life. With so much of difficulty and so much of God's grace, we have attained human life. And this life, if we do not realize, it will go in vain. Upanishad says, if we do not realize God in this very life, we are as if committing suicide. As if we are throwing this precious life in vain, without any purpose, solving any means. It didn't produce what it could do. So it is Atma Hano Janaha. That is the word said in the Ishopanishad. As if people committed their blunder and just destroy this precious life if they don't go for the search of truth. So much emphasis has been given in the Vedanta. Sometimes people say that, why that person is reading Gita, is quite young, So I also want to have God in my life, that is very important. But now it's very busy. You see, we have just got job, and after that, when the job gets permanent, and then we'll start doing little spiritual practice. Then after getting job, then you get married. After marrying, then after marrying, now settle. Now after the children grow, then children sending to school, taking to swimming, taking them to hockey. No time for doing this. Then finally they say, oh well, when children grow and they go to university and they get married, then we will have plenty of time to do spiritual practice. And after that, they say, still I have to go to job, and now when I am retired, then I will be free to do worship and prayer and spiritual practice. So let me wait until retirement. And after they retire, then where is there? After retire 60, 65 years, after that, instead of going to office, then we go to hospital, appointments. Where is time to do spiritual realization? The life finishes. One day we will find we are in the hospital, gasping for the breath, waiting for the death to come. Finished. Oh, this life didn't happen. Next life. Next life, I should try from the beginning. I did mistake in this life by not practicing spirituality from the very beginning. I thought I can do it when time gives, when sufficient time comes, but it never came. And if we do not do in this life, next life we go with the same samskaras. Same tendency we are born, and next life also it will be the same thing repeating again, and it will be repeating in the same way for ad infinitum. Always it will be the same way. That's why it is said that those who go to ocean and want to take dip there in the ocean, but huge waves coming, they say, let the waves subside, then I will take a plunge in the ocean, I'll have bath in the ocean, dip in the ocean. But will the waves subside ever? It will never happen. Yaichanti harim smartum vyaparanta gatairapi samudre shanta kallole snatum ichhati durmati. Those are fools, durmati. They are not intelligent person who think when the waves subside, then I will take the deep. Because they never subside. They don't understand that also. In the same way, those who think in this life, when all the duties and responsibilities will be over, then I will think of God, Harim Smartum. I will remember God when all other worldly duties will be finished. But duties are never finished in that way. If we want to have a dip in ocean, we have to go brave the waves and take a dip. Only then we can have a bath in the ocean. They say spiritual life is never too early to begin, or it is never too late to begin. Both ways seems contradictory, but spiritual life can be started at any age. That is good for spiritual life. Spiritual life and our worldly secular life should go hand in hand. Spiritual life should be a core of this life itself. With all the things doing, spiritual life should be core. Now, I didn't attain spiritual life. I was not fortunate to hear about that. I was very busy in life. Now I am getting old. I am 60 years old, 65 years old. It is now too late, I think, to be spiritual. My mind doesn't go towards that. That is also not true. Whatever time you have come to the conclusion that spiritual life is needed in life, that very time is ripe time. So it is never too late to start a spiritual life, and it is never too early to start a spiritual life. Sri Krishna said, that's why, how should you live? You have to live in the world doing all the duties, and then also remember me. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. That is wonderful teaching of Sri Krishna, that spiritual life is not disconnected with the secular worldly life. They both should go. Particularly in the life of the world, it becomes so burning, so difficult to handle if we are not spiritual. For a spiritual person, the life, difficult challenges of the life becomes much easier if we have a spiritual core in our heart, if we have support of God in our feeling that God is there, if we have a spiritual awareness as the prop to hold on, the spiritual life becomes very easy. like crossing the river in a boat. If you want to swim yourself, forgetting any assistance, any help of God, it becomes very difficult. And if you have a boat coming and there is one oarsman who will take care of you and he will take you across the boat, it becomes so easy to cross the river, to cross the ocean. So that's why we have Khandari. They call in Sanskrit or in Bengali, they say God is like a helmsman, a oarsman, boatman who will take us across the river. When Ramachandra was crossing the Saryu river, and the boatman Guhaka was not accepting the money the Rama gave. So Guhaka said, "Why are you not accepting money?" He said, "People of same profession don't take money from other." So what do you mean? Rama was the prince of Ayodhya, going to forest, no doubt, but Guhaka was the boatman who used to ferry people and earn little money. So how can the profession be same? Rama asked. What do you mean by that? We have the same profession and that's why you will not accept money from me? He said, "We do the same thing, Lord. You do in a bigger scale, I do in a smaller scale. I ferry people across this river and you ferry people across this ocean of samsara. But after all, we are all ferrying people, we have the same profession." So that's how he said, but he didn't accept the money in that way. So God is the ferryman who takes us across the ocean of samsara. And to take the help of God, to have the faith in God, to have the assistance of God in this life, in this worldly life, in the challenges of the life of the world, makes our sailing very comfortable and easier. Otherwise, this challenge becomes too overwhelming to handle. So the yearning for God is very important, as we read in the Bhakti Yoga of Swami Bhuteshanandaji, that how one should be with God and attain bhakti. So what type of bhakti, what type of yearning or longing, that's what Sri Ramakrishna says, longing is the sign of God realization or realization of the truth or attainment of bliss or going to being a perfection. So that is a sign when the longing comes. When I feel this is the most priority in my life to realize God or to be spiritual is the most priority in my life. I give the top priority to this. Then the God realization is not far. Then you can attain that. So what type of realization, as the Vedanta Sara said, like a person whose head is on fire, rushes to lake to burn out, to drop out the fire, to quench the fire, that type of thing, it should be there. For a man. And so Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, and Swami Vivekananda later on describes it, found in the complete works also, that a student comes to the teacher and said, "When will I realize God?" He used to always ask, "When will I realize God?" He said, the teacher used to say, "You should have longing for God, you should have yearning for God." And this student asked, "What type of longing I should have?" So he said, "In time I will give you the answer." So one day they were there and teacher said, "Come with me to the river, we'll take a dip." So both teacher goes and student follows, and teacher goes into the water, waist deep water, and student also follows him in the water. Suddenly the teacher holds student's head and puts it into the water. And not only puts it and then holds that head inside the water, student's head inside the water. Student is now trying to come up to have a breath. So, but he is holding for a few seconds, not letting students come up. So after a few seconds, then he released and student got up and was breathing very, very heavily to have the breath. And then teacher asked, "My child, how were you feeling when you were inside the water?" "Oh, it was terrible. I was thinking as if I will die for the sake of breath. That was the most priority." So then the teacher said, when you have such feeling for God that you will die without having God, then you will realize God. And that is called longing. When you feel there is nothing nicer, better than God. So those who are in love with God, they think for nothing in the world is important except God. So there is one story that one person was devoted to God and was crossing the river, and there was some washerman. And in the thought of God, that washerman had spread drying the clothes, and the man trampled on that because he was unaware where he was walking. His thought was only on God. And then this washerman started, but his thought was not totally there. Washerman, when they started rebuking him and started throwing something to him, that why are you walking in the cloths that were washed and be dried? They all become dirty and we have to wash it again. Then that person started again throwing something on them, some stones or some pebbles on them. This story says the man was really devoted to God, but it was not that much that he was fully surrendered to God. And it says that Lakshmi and Vishnu were in the heaven. He was a devotee of Vishnu. And Vishnu then suddenly said to Lakshmi, I have to rush. So Lakshmi said, okay, what happened? So much rush there, emergency. And he went there and he saw that man himself was trying to defend himself, protect himself by throwing a stone on the washerman. And Vishnu came back immediately to Vaikuntha, to heaven. Lakshmi said, you just went rushing, you came back, what happened? He said, oh, my devotee was there. He was thinking of me, repeating my name, and was not aware where he is walking. By mistake, he walked on the dried clothes, washed and dried clothes, and people became angry. And I had to go on to save him because people were throwing some stones on him. Then why did you come back so early? Did you protect him? Oh, I didn't have to protect. The person was trying to protect himself. It's a story of self-surrender. When you don't protect yourself, then God protects you. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Who is fully surrendered to me, takes full refuge in me, I take his full care. Total his care I will take. That's what it is said. There should be priority for the spiritual life, a sense of urgency. Life is short. Death is near. That we have to realize. Death is near. In the songs that were sung in Bhaja Govindam, that at the beginning, it is said that Prapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukriya karane. This, when death comes, then nothing helps. Your money, relationship, nothing helps. And even your knowledge doesn't help. You have to be devoted to God. That's why Bhaja Govindam, practice spiritual disciplines, grow love for God. Otherwise nothing will help when death comes. And another verse says that, you see, now it's all we are growing old. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. There will be again when we are dead, we will be born again. Again there will be death, and again we will have to be in the womb of mother. So this life becomes too terrible to go across. So, oh Lord, please help me, please protect me, please make me cross this ocean. And one of the verses says, Angam galitam palitam mundam dasana vihinam jatam tundam vriddho yati grihitva dandam tadapina munchati asha pindam. The person's body has become weak, angam galitam, and palitam mundam. Now head cannot be raised, it is going down. You see, when we grow too old, sometimes this neck muscles become weak and we have to lift head like this. It doesn't, palitam mundam, and mundam has become this, all hair has become white. Dasana vihinam jatam tundam, means all teeth are gone. You have to have either denture or without teeth. That is gone. Vriddho yati grihitva dandam. The old man is walking, holding the staff, holding the stick, because he cannot walk clearly. Tadapina munchati asha pinnam. The bunch of desires, worldly desires, are not yet gone. The old man, life is at the verge of finishing, yet the desires for worldly things and worries for the worldly things still remain. Mind is not fully given to God. though is coming and going is inevitable, but still for not remembering that this life is short and it will go away. So how much we should do this? How should we practice? Grihita iva kesheshu mrityuna dharmam acharet. Death has got hold of our hair. Now it will take us. Think that way and practice spirituality. It's very beautiful balance that is said that to earn knowledge and to earn wealth, think that you are ajara amara. You will not get old and you will not die. You are immortal. Like that feeling. Right? And then earn your wealth and also gain knowledge. When you are doing that, earning wealth and gaining knowledge, you should think you will live forever, ever. But to practice spirituality, think that death has already caught hold of my hair. Now it is going to pull me out of this body. Time has come. This is called Mama Nusmara Yudhya. Yudhya is that fight is that in the world, how to maintain this worldly life with all the duties and responsibilities performing. Do that, but also remember that ultimate is God. Don't forget God and go on doing the things in the world. Mirabai was a great devotee of God, Krishna, in the 15th, 16th century India. So her focus was on Krishna from very childhood. She got married to a king, a prince, and yet her life was centered in Krishna. And when her husband died in a battle, after the battle in 5 years of her wedding, her husband died, her life was still centered in Krishna. Another person became king, and this Mirabai, the princess, the queen of the former king, she used to go to the saints and meet with the people and go into the discussion of God and always remember God. She was like a very saintly person, unconcerned with the royal formalities. So the royal people became very annoyed because she was giving bad name to the royalties and their tradition. So even that next king wanted to kill her and gave her poison. And she drank the poison, nothing happened. And then the king, they sent a basket of snakes, poisonous snakes. And as if she was sending the flowers because she was a saintly person. Because the snakes will bite and she will die. But when she opened, it was the basket of flowers. Snakes had vanished. Like that, stories are there. So her life was totally fixed on God. That is what is one type of life. Totally, God is my soul, center of my all function, all thoughts is God. And finally, he had the vision of God, vision of Krishna, and merged in him. That is what it is said. Prahlada was another person, another devotee of God, whose priority was thought of God. So he was punished by his father in many ways to try to be killed. His father himself wanted to kill, but he never cursed his father, never had any complaint against his father. When one becomes devotee of God and God becomes our center, our whole life is changed, transformed. So we don't have any hatred or jealousy or fear. Fear also goes, hatred is not there, jealousy is totally vanished. That is the sign of a person whose life is centered in God. And Prahlada, though so much troubled by God, he was so much dependent and he was so sure that God is always protecting him, he was always protected by God. So these are the stories how this remembering God and making God as center of life, one becomes free from all worries, anxieties, problems coming, nothing will happen, they are sure of that thing. And the people, you see, how they make life totally dependent on God. You know the story of Ratnakara, how he was said by Narada that you are doing this robbery for the sake of your family. Will your family take your sins? He said, yes, I am doing for them, they will do. Go and ask them. And he went to their house and he asked his wife and mother and his children, I am doing all my robbery for the livelihood. Are you going to share my sin? Every one of them said, it is your duty as our son or husband or father to feed us, to take our care. So, but how do you do that? It is up to you. If we take illegal, evil means and get sin out of that, we are not going to share anything. When you earn sin, it is only for you. You don't share your sins. So then Ratnakara came running to Narada and said, no, I was all doing wrong. I thought I am doing great work to serve my family, but they are not ready to share the sins that I am accruing, that I am bringing. So please show me the way. Then Narada said, repeat the name of Rama. Say Rama. Now Ratnakara had such a background, such an evil life he had led, he was not able to attain the word Rama. Rama is the name of God. It would become too holy and too bright for him to repeat that word, would not come from him. Rama didn't come. Then Narada thought how to guide him in his spiritual path. He said, Rama doesn't come. Then say, Mara, Mara, Mara. Then he knew about the killing and all that. Say, reverse way. Say, Mara, Mara, without knowing who is Rama. Just the word, Rama had to be uttered. Say, Mara, Mara, Mara. Then, Ma, Rama, Rama, Rama. It comes, Rama, it comes. By that way, he tried this and he could say, Mara, Mara, Mara. The Rama, Rama came. And they said, now meditate on the mantra that I have given to you. This was how the focus came to Ratnakara. They had that life led, but there was something in them that is called sincerity. When they understood the life I was leading is not good, and now time has come that I have to change the way of my life, and there is a guide I have to follow, and it's all for my good. Otherwise, why was he concerned that I have to be free from sin or not? What was Narada's concern for him? So he understood that and he immediately sat into meditation and focusing, concentration on this mantra got from his guru Narada. And how much was his this deep meditation? He sat there in the forest and then he was oblivious. Totally he went indrawn and was repeating the mantra. And so much so he didn't get up from that. Days, weeks, and even white ants found like a dead man sitting there, and they made the hill over that of the earth, of the clay. And it was the clay earth is called Valmik. The Sanskrit name of the ant hill is Valmik. So Valmik is formed over his body. Someone came, was teaching there, and when they did, they found, oh, here is a man inside. And God, he realized God. And the first word came from him was about the saving of some, one hunter was cruel to kill some bird, and suddenly the verse comes from him. What have you done, so cruel person, that you killed one of the birds? So he found surprised how this came. He was not a learned person, but how this his life was transformed. He realized God and all the things needed for his further life came, and he became a Valmiki, a great sage and great poet who composed Ramayana in Sanskrit. But how did he do? He just focused his life and he hurried for hurry, that I have to realize God, I have to find out the truth, that Rama I have to realize in my life. Everything was given up and he came there. What happens in the life of Tulsidasa, who loved his wife so much, he couldn't stay with his wife. And when wife went to her father's house, Tulsidasa gave leave to her, and that very night he rushed to his wife's place. And wife said, you love me so much? So much you love me, you can live even one day without me? If we had this much of love for God, you would have realized God. This much? The wife said. Then Tulsidas realized, yes, God is the topmost priority in life. What I was doing, it was like a teaching for him. The insult of his wife became a teaching, and Tulsidas considered his wife as his one of the gurus. And then he goes to the forest and tries to do the practices and realizes Rama in his life and writes another great book on Ramayana. It's called Ramacharita Manasa. It's a fully translation of the Ramayana with the original word, based on, of course, the story of Valmiki, that was the first great epic. So like that, people who have center on Hari, on God, they realize the truth. How Sri Ramakrishna had a longing for God. that when mother's vision was not being seen again, he used to cry for mother, "Mother, another day has gone and you have not showed me, another day passed, this thing." The days are passing. When will you realize God? What he said to Niranjanananda ji, he himself felt in life. And he used to rub his face on the ground with agony, with viraha, that when will you show me, mother? Days are passing and I am not having your vision again. So please show me. This is the longing that makes one realize God. Swami Vivekananda had tremendous will to realize the truth. And with that tremendous will and life centered in God, he sat for meditation in Kashipur when Sri Ramakrishna was there. And they say that when he sat there were a lot of mosquitoes. And he sat and he was totally oblivious of his body and surrounding. He went into deep meditation. And people who saw him, Girish Ghosh, he saw him and says his body was covered fully with mosquitoes, as if the blanket of mosquitoes have covered. All were biting. Swami Vivekananda was unaware of any bite of mosquito. Why? Because he was the eagerness, longing to realize God and to attain God. Swamiji writes a beautiful poem to his friend. He says it is the poem written to a friend. It's not meant for any one friend. But in that he says what he had done to realize God. I'll recite that, I'll read that poem to you. For religion, many creeds have I sought, lived in mountain caves, on cremation grounds, by the Ganga and other sacred streams. And how many days have I passed on alms, friendless, clad in rags, with no possession, feeding from door to door, on what chance would bring. The frame broken under tapasya's weight. What riches, asked thou, have I earned in life? So much of austerity I did, so much of austerity he practiced for the sake of God. Then he says, have I gained anything? And after saying many things, he said, I have gained the truth. What is the truth? Listen, my friend, I will speak my heart to thee. I have found in my life this truth supreme. Buffeted by waves in this world of life, there is one ferry that takes us across the sea. From highest Brahman to yonder worms, and to the very minutest atom, everywhere is the same God, the all-love. Friend, offer mind, soul, at his lotus feet. These are his manifold forms. Before thee, these are his manifold forms before thee. Rejecting them, where seekest thou for God, who loves all beings without distinction? He indeed is worshipping best his God. That's what Swami Vivekananda's longing for God and practice took him, that to love all is the best search for God, to love all equally, from yonder atom to blade of grass to the highest human being. Love all, that is the best way to God. And God is always ready to help us. God is always ready and He wants to help us. Sri Ramakrishna says in one of the songs about Mother Kali wants the play to go ahead. The kites are flying, our life is like the kites flying in the sky. And the kite flying play is very nice to see, and Mother wants. But if some kites are cut asunder, the thread is cut by another kite, and Mother becomes very happy. See, the another has become freed. The freedom is a very joyful thing. And God is there to help us always. That's why one song says, "Aise se nutan manus dekh bhi jodi aaye chale." New man has come. If you want to see, come to him. And what is he doing? He says, I am here with a boat, and I want to take you across the ferry. Come to me. Thus he is waiting for us to take us across this maya, across this ignorance, across this imperfection, and take us to God. Little longing, going to God for the help, and who is there? Sri Ramakrishna always there. He used to cry as he cried for Mother. "Oh devotees, come, where are you?" And he still is crying, saying, "Come to me, I will take you across the ocean." That's why he said his song was "Doob Doob Doob Roop Sagore Amar Mon." Dive deep into the spiritual practice. Only doing morning little japam 10 times, 108 times and forgetting God whole day, it will take many births. It will help you, but it will take, when you will realize truth, we don't know. So take a plunge. Only by floating on the surface you will not find the pearls. Take a plunge, try to remember God always, try to see God always in everyone, and be of service, be of loving service to whole humanity. That way you will surely attain God. And then add to that your prayer to God. Lord, may I see you in all beings. May I be able to serve you in all, serving God in man. That's what Swami Vivekananda preached on the basis of the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. That is the goal of life, by which we will hurry to Hari. That is God. Last one joke. You see, Hari and Hari are both similar, only spelling is different. H-A-R-I, Hari means God, it's the name of God, and H-U-R-R-Y, English word, which means Hari. So one person was there, he was very fond of God, repeating God's name. Became sick and he had to taken to the hospital, 911 called, and ambulance came and he was taking. And now old man going, she was repeating God's name. He was saying Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Now what happened, it was in the west, you see, and the ambulance driver suddenly they came back soon to the house. And the house people said, "You are taking him to the hospital, he is in emergency, why did you bring him home?" He said, "Oh, he was saying Hari Home, Hari Home, Hari Home." So Hari Home was thought to be Hari Home. In fact, Hari Home is the same thing. What is our home? Mono chalo nija niketane. Oh mind, go to your own home. Our real home is God. That's why we have to hurry home. Hari Om and hurry home is the same thing. So we have to hurry to reach home, and home is waiting, and there is person, there is God, incarnations of God and the saints and the Guru, all waiting to take us to the house of bliss and blessedness, and taking refuge in them, we will reach that goal, that home. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Vedanta Society of Toronto, I would like to thank you all for attending today's Sunday service. I have some announcements of our upcoming programs. The next scripture class will be on Friday, which is June 2nd at 7:30 p.m. The subject is Vivek Chudamani. The next Sunday talk is on June 4th at 11 a.m. and is titled Destined to Realize. This will be delivered by Professor Kumar Murthy. The annual retreat this year will be held on Saturday, June 17 and Sunday, June 18 between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. This will be conducted by Reverend Swami Sumanasananda of the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa, Durban. Registration forms are available and they can be downloaded from the website or picked up from the office, and it's requested that they be returned by June 10th at the latest. Following the closing chants, please join us upstairs for prasad.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Jai Mahamai Ki Jai. Jai Swami Ji Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Buddha Ki Jai. Jai Isha Musha Ki Jai. Sarvastaratu Durgani Sarvo Bhadrani Pashyatu Sarvasad Buddhimapnotu Sarvas Sarvatra Nandatu. Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.